Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you in another video. All right, so what are we talking about? Game 6, Lakers Warriors, tonight at Crypto.com Arena, aka Anxiety Arena. And the Lakers have won a lot of games in a row at home as of late. We ain't lost a game since Patrick Beverly came in here trying to take us out with the Bulls. That game where we had the back to back with the Bulls, but it wasn't actually a back to back because they had a game with the Clippers the next day. So it was actually only a back to back for us. That whole situation. That was the last time we lost. So it's been about a good 8, 9 games, something like that, straight at home, and we feel excellent about that. However, this is the playoffs. This is the Golden State Warriors, and that doesn't really carry over. Just like their record on the road has sucked all year, I don't expect that to necessarily carry over tonight, even though I hope for the same result. The odds are with us based on these trends. So we got to like that as a Laker fan. Now, we talked a lot about injuries going into Game 6. First of all, we as Laker fans care about Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis went down with some type of head injury that I thought was deliberate by Kevon Looney, even though it looked as if it wasn't deliberate. I think that would be what I would want it to look like if I was on the Golden State Warriors side, so nobody gets suspended. Oops, sorry, that kind of thing. But he hit him, and Anthony is fine, and that's the good news. As of this morning, he's listed as probable for that game. So is LeBron James as well. He kind of tweaked his foot in the game as well, Game 5. So with one day's rest, I hope that doesn't carry over. But it is likely to have some carryover, so we just pray for the best. Now, on the other side of the game, Andrew Wiggins, Golden State Warriors. We also made a video yesterday talking about his injury there. It's some type of rib injury of some sort. It's a fracture to some degree. He was listed as questionable last I checked. I didn't see any update on him, but that's a big turn of fortune for the Golden State Warriors, who I think can credit him with a lot of what they've had go right for themselves. Just his set shooting, that 3-point shot was murderous against us in Game 5 for sure. And him not being at 100%, I think helps us a whole lot, especially if he ain't able to go. So we will keep our eyes on Andrew Wiggins. To be honest with you, the next thing that comes to mind is Vanderbilt. We've reduced his minutes to 11 minutes in the last game. He's only had 15 minutes throughout this series. I definitely appreciate that it's failed using him offensively. Trying to work the ball around to find him in the corner is absolutely not going to work for us. So we've been trying it. It doesn't work. But if you use him correctly, like we always complain about with how we use our players at with certain players, we would be better off. Vanderbilt's a guy you can just, as I've said many times, leave alone. You don't have to run a single play for him, and you're better if you don't, for a multitude of reasons. But if you play him a good 25 minutes, let him roam between the 2 position, 3 position, 4 position, and 5 position, which is how you actually use him. You don't really actually take him off the floor. You just slip him up and down between positions and allow him to play the defensive side only, while offensive rebounding and put back dunking for you, and maybe making plays for others, because I'm finding he can make assist plays, and we don't utilize his playmaking enough, Draymond Green style. You can get 5, 6 assists out of him. For some of them plays that we're running to have him in the corner, how about we have him make another pass because he's really good at it, and have somebody cutting at the same time. That's what you do with Vanderbilt. Instead of having him seek out the bad 3-point shots at the end of quarters, how about we make another pass? One more pass, since that shot is left open for a reason and he doesn't hit it. So these are things that I just think we can do if we just open and expand our mind and understand that just because a guy is struggling in our system does not mean we can't utilize his strengths a different way, still get the most out of him. Vanderbilt should not be removed from this rotation. That's a mistake. You got to use him differently, but you don't not use him at all. Why? Because he initiates so much defensively, and our best offense is defense, and we're having trouble scoring without that formula. So if he's our second best defender, and our best offense is defense to offense, then why are we running so many offensive lineups out there? It leaves us without our greatest strength, which is defense, and it's not our easiest way to score. When we seek out ways to score by way of our roster, you do know that's when we fail, Darvin. You know that, right? We talk about it every day. The 3-guard lineups with the 2-man power forward nonsense, putting Lonnie, Dennis, and either Austin or D'Lo together on the floor, and then not giving them no rim protection, looking for offense doesn't give us our best opportunity to score. But it definitely gives us our best opportunity to leave the floodgates open defensively, because that's all it does. That lineup doesn't score very often at all. And then on the other side, of course, no defense. So this is what I call our, if we want to lose, we go to that lineup. We go to that lineup in the regular season when we want to rest other players, and we just decide we want to, schedule a loss. This is how we make the other team's star look good to effectively hold down our position in the league. You know what I mean? Because the league wants certain things to happen, so obviously all teams have to comply sometimes, if not all the time. So we did a little bit of that for them. And then, on certain nights, obviously when we want to extend the series, we just know there's certain lineups we can put on the floor that can make this very, very fail-safe, perfect, basic roster. Basically perfect roster. You could beat anybody with this roster, more or less, if it's utilized correctly, because there's not too much it cannot do. But if you happen to need to lose, and you don't need them good players and all that combination of stuff that always works to work that night, you can put this crap on the floor and get the desired result. Just like I said about San Antonio, using Keldon Johnson to shoot 1,000,000 threes and brick them all throughout the course of the game so that they can lose on purpose. That's how it goes. This is how you tank. This is how teams tank without fans knowing it. They put crap on the floor that doesn't work. So I've surmised we do the same thing for various reasons that the fans are obviously not going to know a damn thing about. And it is what it is. This is what happens. It's a net negative on paper. When you look on paper, you say, oh, okay, is this likely to succeed? It says no. And then we proceed to try to do it against some of the best talent. It's like, well, of course it's going to fail. So it's like at some point in time, you stop asking yourself, to get on the camera and be frustrated about this. You start looking around at other teams who may be doing the same thing and seeing if it's a trend, and honestly it is. You see the same thing in Philadelphia, the way they used their team last night. You see the same thing in New York, the way they used their team throughout the course of the Heat series. They just didn't use their team to the betterment of how they're supposed to play. And I think it's so they can showcase the other team's talent. I really believe that. So it's like, all right, if the NBA's on that type of agenda, then our fans just have to sit here and take these losses as they come. They just got to take them. Because if you boil down to what it really comes down to, it comes down to people looking at stuff on paper that doesn't work and choosing to do it anyway. And so you tell me that's not a business decision. Seems like it to me. So the frustration needs to exit the game. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. We don't need to be frustrated over Game 5 losses when we know that they're setting us up for a great extravaganza Game 6 that we're going to enjoy and look at and say that's the Lonnie game or that's the Vando game or whatever, you know what I mean? But those games don't incur if they let these rosters do what they naturally do. Is it going to blow these teams out? Some rosters, like the Laker roster, is put together to destroy the field itself. And if they don't want that roster to sweep the entire field and make the field look like it ain't got nothing but 4 games to offer each series, then they need to do stuff like this to assure that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Because the reality is there are some rosters in this league that are built properly, and there are other rosters in this league that are stuck bad. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the league doesn't want money to go to those markets. So sometimes those teams just have to win when they're not supposed to. Keep the fans engaged. The Minnesota Timberwolves, for example, they're in a league where the way that they're constructed right now going forward, they're going to be years in the future. If they don't do some things differently, they're not going to be able to win more than 30 games off the strength of their roster. Just because of how the moves were made up until this point. Now we're going to leave them without enough assets to give them the talent they need unless they find it in some very, very impossible ways. So they're going to suck real bad, and they know it. If the NBA doesn't want every game they're in to be ridiculously bad, they're going to have to do this against the Minnesota Timberwolves in future seasons. They're going to have to be games where the teams that Minnesota plays against has to leave their defense completely wide open so whatever star Minnesota has can look at least halfway competent against the field that's just constructed better than him. Like, these are the type of things. It's like, yo, if the NBA knows what's good for itself, they will get in there and police these situations so that these teams don't ever get this bad, so they don't have to do this crap. But whatever, I'm just talking. Either way, back to playoff game that we're focused on today, because at the end of the day, there is a game today. It's just that we've talked so much about this team since we've played them 5 times in a row, plus playoff, plus preseason. So it's probably a total like 10 times we've seen the Golden State Warriors this year. It ain't nothing that they're going to do tonight that I actually want to talk about, truthfully. It's one of those situations where our team knows what it has to do. Defense to offense. Get in transition. That's how you score 127 points if you're the Lakers. Block shots, rebound the ball, take it the other way really, really fast. Everything else is us playing into their hands. They got the offense down packed. They're running us in a circle. They're running us off of moving screens, and the refs are not calling it. So offensively, they're able to get their stuff off. Defensively, they need us to comply. They need us to put the small guys on the floor and tank it out. They need us to turn the ball over and jack up a bunch of threes that we're not going to hit and don't rebound them. They need us to allow them to get in transition and leave players on the floor that can't defend them in transition. These are things that they need the Lakers to do. They need us to put them 3-guard lineups on the floor with Rui and Bron so that we can't rebound or weak side at all. You know, they need things to happen. On our side, in my humble opinion, based on the 5 games I've seen, in order for them to beat us. They can play with us. They can run us around the circle. They can do geometry on us and make themselves look smart, but they can't stop us on the other side. They can do all that little pretty stuff that makes you feel like they're winning the game, but on the other side, it's easy buckets. So what I'm telling you is, we ain't got to do all that geometry crap. And if we were to run complicated geometry like that, there ain't no way in hell they would stop us. That's the truth. You know better. They would not stop us. Why? Because we have the size and talent advantage. Granted, Steph Curry he's Steph Curry, man. But the rest of that roster ain't better than the rest of this roster, and that's just what I'm here to say to you. So the Lakers losing to this team, it speaks to the intellect of that team, the study habits and the history and the experience that they've had running certain plays together for many years when being champions. You know, they know what they're doing. You know, they're smart. So at the end of the day, their smarts ain't going to stop them from being a little too short, being a little less talented, being a little too shallow to go up against this roster. So that's what we have to go out there and prove. Now, if they run a bunch of good plays, take every possession seriously, and we come out there half-hearted like we did in Game 5, and of course they can beat us, and so can anyone else. Because I've told you guys all year, these Los Angeles Lakers can lose to anybody. They can beat mostly everybody, but they can definitely lose to anybody. And so sometimes you're just going to see them take their foot off the gas and be comfortable. They're wealthy, and it's it. You know, guys are rich. So they have to self-motivate. And sometimes it's a little difficult to do that, especially when you know you have the cushion and the great benefit of a Game 6. For a lot of these guys, that's the dream. It's like, okay, we only get one playoffs a year. Maybe we make the playoffs, maybe we don't. So we want to maximize the dollar opportunities as well as the winning opportunities. Sometimes the dollar opportunities mean you got to lose Game 5 so you can have that big, extravagant, lucrative Game 6 that brings not only the team money but more revenue to the entire league. So it's going to be a lot of people in cahoots with that, but they all got it wrong. Every last one of them when they're considering the risk of health from game to game. This Anthony Davis thing, this Wiggins thing, you ain't got to worry about none of that if you don't greed yourself into extra basketball games in the damn playoffs. You know what I mean? But when Larry O'Brien isn't the ultimate goal, the trophy ain't the ultimate goal, it's to maximize these dollars and promote the league and all kinds of other stuff, and then of course people are going to be strategizing purposeful losing. You know what I mean? Close basketball games. Stuff like that. The referees are going to leave these players getting clobbered like the Lakers got hit in the last game. We were getting beat up. You're going to see an entirely different basketball game with that same intensity, and you're going to see a whistle every 3 minutes. Because they pick and choose when they want to do this based on their manipulation agenda. So if it's the game between the Pistons and the Spurs or something, they're going to call every call. You know what I mean? But in a game like this, when we need to get to the paint in order to create our offense, they're just going to let us get hit, hammered, and not call anything, and the ball goes the other way in transition instead of a foul call. That should be sending us to the line. So it's up to the NBA. If they want to see a Game 7, we'll see more of that, and you'll see us put those small guys on the floor, and together we'll see us all make Steph Curry look like Steph Curry. He is who he is. But that's really what it comes down to. It's like, okay, Game 6, Clay. That's the big name. That's the big aura around the Golden State Warriors when they get to this point. Sometimes it holds true. I think once it didn't. I don't follow the Warriors close enough to know how effective Game 6 Clay actually is historically. But more times than not, he does something very big or hits the big shot, even if he's cold, something like that. So we just need to be on high alert. He's a Laker fan. His pop's name is in the rafters. This is a big night set up for Klay Thompson to shoot us down. And I just want us to be on high alert with him and everybody else on this team because they're going to rally around him. And that's what we need to understand, because we are a team that has this same type of thing going on with LeBron James. Everybody rallies around LeBron James for big moments. Who want to, they got the same thing with Steph Curry. They got the exact same thing with Klay Thompson, rather, in regards to this Game 6 Klay thing. So expect others to try to help him shine for tonight, since he's been struggling in the series. They're going to have a Game 6 Warriors. And since they're fighting for their playoff lives, it's even more so that they would rally around some bulletin board material, stuff like that. So the Lakers, everybody's picking us to win this game. Even I picked us to win this game before the series because I had us winning in 6. Problem is, now that we're here, the path that got me here doesn't leave me as confident as I need to be. I'm not confident because at the end of the day, I think we toyed with a team you can't toy with. And just because you play well doesn't necessarily mean you beat them. So we're counting on the fact that we're going to play well and beat them like we did in Memphis. And I'm telling you, you could play well, still lose. And so that's my thing with the Golden State Warriors. You're toying with forces that are greater than you. Literally. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. And so that's why I think we've messed up, because you're looking at the Golden State Warriors like they're the food. They're not food, bro. You got out to a 3-1 lead in a very advantageous schedule. They had no time to work their progressions against you, and those progressions still were successful. They had one day to make major adjustments. They made those, and they still look great against us. So my thing is, we better hurry up, give everything we got, and hope to God we win this game. Because if Game 7 comes around in their house, we're not favored to win that. It's going to be hard to win that, especially if the geometry's been working this much. It's hopeless, basically. You got to beat them tonight. This is the Golden State Warriors, and when they take their fate in their own hands, you may not have a say-so in it. So that's really what it comes down to. That's why I don't like the Lakers losing Game 5, not strategizing as if it's Game 7, not having the urgency necessary to close the series out, because I don't think we brought that. I don't think we brought that urgency. And many a team didn't become champions because of it. So that's really what it comes down to, man. I'm not here to tell you guys that I expect the Los Angeles Lakers to lay an egg. I expect this to be a close basketball game. I expect us to play hard tonight. I expect us to meet the urgency necessary, but it's up to Golden State if they're just going to be smarter than us tonight or not, because obviously we're having trouble with what it is that they're doing, that geometry crap. We really are. They're getting into the paint. They're laying the ball up. They're out-rebounding us over the last couple games. They're getting out of transition off of our turnovers. And it's one of those things where they're shooting so many threes that even though they're shooting the same percentage as us, they're able to get the shots up necessary. And because we had so much trouble scoring in the last game, they were able to overcome our scoring total as a whole. So, it's not set up nicely. They can duplicate what they did in the last game. And if we don't make the adjustments necessary, they will have the same result. The Lonnie Walker experiment, it worked in Game 4, but we were real stupid about playing him in Game 5. 28 whole minutes to a guy that we hadn't seen in months. That's just stupid, man. And I don't like stupidity. So that's really what I have to say about that. I thought that was just brain dead stupidity. Running a guy 28 minutes because he had the game of his life the night before in one quarter. Just a bunch of stupid stuff, man. We got to not be that damn basic if we want to call ourselves champions. I'm sorry, LA. I am sorry. I don't want to disrespect people who really genuinely like watching my channel, but I have to be honest with you guys every time I speak. That was about as dumb as anything we've done. It is Game 4 in that situation. Or Game 5, rather, in that situation. Lonnie went off in Game 4. We love that. We really love that he went off in Game 4. But you got to act like you know that this is the playoffs, deep in the second round in the playoffs, against the Golden State Warriors, who's won 4 NBA championships, who won the championship last year. You can't play somebody that ain't used to what you're doing against them when he ain't played in months. Fresh off a pressure situation where he had the joyous moment of being the hero. All of that means that he going to come in with the idea that he has to be the hero tomorrow, or overcompensate for not being the hero so that he doesn't make the mistakes of overshooting and then thus find himself on the back of the bench. Either way, you're putting him in a situation, as I always say, that coaches sometimes they don't understand the situations they put their players in. When I talk about foul trouble, I was listening to, I refer to Van Gundy talking about foul trouble, Jeff Van Gundy, and how he didn't believe in it, and the correlation between him not understanding that the players have to live with it, regardless if you believe in it. You're putting them in a situation where if they take on the wrong contact or if somebody flops off them the wrong way, they have to sit down next to you. You're not worried about that as a coach because you're going to, of course, put another player in. That player that you're taking out of the game has to sit because of your decision to play him in foul trouble, whether you believe in it or not. So that's really what it comes down to. This is the exact same situation. You put your players in situations that coaches don't see as a problem. But it is a problem when the player has to put on his shoes and play the damn role that night. That's a problem. Lonnie Walker now asked to play 28 minutes in a series he ain't played in the playoffs. He ain't played in the regular season. Since we made the trade, we ain't played that boy more than 10 minutes. And you're going to give him 28 minutes in Game 5 when you up 3-1 in the series on the road. On the road. It's just like, that's what I'm talking about, man. If the guy holding the controller doesn't know what he's doing, it don't matter how good the team is, you're going to lose. And that was an I don't know what I'm doing move by our coaching staff. Whoever decided to do that. It was a bad decision. Anyway, so as we go forward into Game 6, can we get back to regular rotations, please? If for no other reason than continuity. Ain't that why y'all had us running small ball for the first half of the season? Because y'all didn't want to do nothing different? Now you get all the way to Game 5 and want to do something different in the second round? It can make sense. I'm not saying remove Lonnie from rotation. I've been fighting for y'all to get him in rotation, but can we have some balance about it? Look at Rui's minutes. Can you give him some of Rui's minutes? Since you're giving Rui 16 minutes, give Lonnie 16 minutes instead of jumping him from 0 to 28, 3 games. I'm telling y'all, man, my head, I'm praying for strength in regards to my energy when it comes to stupidity, but I just have a hard time with it. I really do. Especially against damn geniuses. It's won a bunch of rings. So, yeah. Can we get back to being smart? Sit Lonnie back down. Give him like 15 minutes, 13 minutes. Some balance that acknowledges his good Game 3 or 4, whatever it was, Game 4. And acknowledges the fact that he's literally been sitting and was benched for a whole 3 months. Balance. That's all we ask for. So don't send Lonnie out there to do that again, man. And if you do send him out there to do that, please don't put him in lineups where he's going to be the small forward in the small ball lineup with no center, no rim protection. He's going to look bad. The score is going to go down, and we're going to blame him. And that's how that goes. It's the same thing you did to Beasley. Don't. So can we get back to what works? Hopefully Bamba will be available for the rest of this series. I don't know where he's at with his ankle, but I really do think that his length is much more reasonable to audible in when we take Anthony Davis out than putting Schroeder on the floor and leaving us with a third guard. God, I hate when he does that. That's another thing I really hate when he does that. It's how he audibles into his small ball lineup. Instead of putting all new players on the floor, he takes the center out and puts a point guard in and then just has him run out there and then watch the score just bottom out. So that particular substitution will directly cater to the Lakers losing every time. And he's going to do it a lot. So we'll look for that. And hopefully he doesn't. But yeah, anything involving D'Lo, Austin, Lonnie together, Schroeder, DS, Lonnie together, Schroeder, Lonnie, Austin, whatever combination that is with the 3 ball handler, you gotta put Anthony and Winion on the floor together with that trio. Okay, that's what it comes down to for me. If you're gonna put that 3 guard crap on the floor, have excess rim protection at both your front court positions. That's how you do that. Because what ends up happening is you leave yourself so much of a hole with your rim protection and your rebounding that the strengths of having 3 ball handlers is negated by the fact that you're not big enough to rebound over guys like Draymond and Kavan in that situation. And so after watching our coach do this every game for the whole season, now that we're here at Game 6, I really am worried it's going to cost us this game if he subs this way. It doesn't work. It never works. LeBron James and Rui Hachimura are not a viable front court. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are not a viable front court. Rui Hachimura and Vanderbilt and LeBron James are not a viable front court. These are players that I never want to see playing the center and power forward position together on this team. And unfortunately, that's how we have it set up 100% of the time. It's not ever going to give you enough rebounding. It's not ever going to give you enough rim protection, especially on the weak side. Anthony can block enough shots for two people, but he can't be in two places at once. And we often leave him in situations where he has to be, and this crap needs to stop just so this coach can have D'Lo on the floor while Schroeder and Lonnie's on the floor, just so that we can be bad defensively. It don't do nothing else. It definitely don't put no points on the board. So please, it's Game 6. We're one game away from being in an elimination situation, and the team we're going up against is fighting for their playoff lives. If you put 3 guards on the floor and you leave them with any combination of power forwards or small forwards playing the center position and power forward positions respectively, you're going to see the score go down, and you're going to see an unhappy Brent. That's it. So that needs to be said before we go into this big-time game. It's the stupid crap this coach does when he wants to leave the score close. It's going to be something that does that very thing, man. It's going to do that very thing. If it don't cost us a blowout entirely going up against a very desperate champion team like this. So these are things that have been said, but if we're going into Game 6, damn it, they need to be said. Because if we don't get it right, you don't have too many more games to lose. You do not have many more games to lose, Lakers. Not in this series. So to say this is a must-win is ridiculous. This is the game you win because you fought so hard in every other game leading up to this. How many games we played now? Is it 90 games or something? This is why you come out tonight and make sure that the Golden State Warriors have a deficit at the end of the game. Because at the end of the day, all of the effort we've put in would otherwise be betrayed if we come out here and play lackluster against these guys for the second game in a row. Get outplayed by them for the third game in a row. And do not lose count of that, because we definitely got outplayed in Game 4. Do not lose sight of that. So that's where I'm at with it, man. With the exception of Game 3 where we blew them out, I don't think we've really dominated this team as much as our roster should say we should. And it's because we haven't been as smart as the Golden State Warriors. And that's fair, but it needs to change because we have a more talented and more capable roster than the Golden State Warriors. So hopefully we can luck up on a nice win tonight. And I do say luck up with a lot of respect because that's how I feel watching us get ran around in circles off them screens and having us chasing around these guys over and over again for them to get good looks and either make them or miss them. They're getting their looks. So our defense needs to improve, and you ain't going to improve if we keep on leaving ourselves defensively disadvantaged for the sake of these 3-guard lineups that leave us nothing but 30-point quarters and 40-point quarters for the other team. So that's what I have to say, man. The second quarter crap has cost us so much in this series with them trying to go to these stupid lineups. You already see how I'm waking up this morning. You already see what side of the bed I'm on. It ain't going to be pretty tonight. It ain't going to be pretty. If you don't get this right, it ain't going to be pretty tonight. This is Game 6. I'm going off. So I'm just letting people know early. This is my disclaimer for tonight. He better get it right. It's Game 6, baby. The urgency is here. We understand the urgency. We're in the playoffs. We made it. It was a lot of crap. We put up with a lot to get to this point. LeBron James needs to not shoot too many threes tonight. I don't care what type of magic mojo he sees in the numbers with him shooting threes versus the space that he gets. You're throwing possessions away, brother. You cannot tell me otherwise. You can't tell me otherwise. You shot pretty good from behind the arc in the last game, but tonight is Game 6. It's a whole nother day. We can't launch 8-9 threes, bro. And if we do, we better hit like 6-7 of them. I'm telling you, we cannot throw possessions away. We don't rebound them well enough. Forget whether they make a miss or whether it makes sense to take or not. We're not rebounding them. They're going the other way. So unless we can figure that out, this is why we don't shoot threes, Bron. This is why. Transition buckets to the Warriors. So that's what it is, man. I understand that the Nuggets won their game last night, just as I predicted, even though, no, I didn't. Let me take that back. I predicted Suns in 7th. My prediction was wrong, but I also said that it looked like the Denver Nuggets were going to win halfway through the series, so therefore we needed to get up there early. That's what I was right about. But we ain't no getting up there early if we can't get out of our damn series. So it's the reality of it. They're waiting on whoever wins this series. And that's another reason why we need to hurry up and get the hell out of it. You know what I mean? So at this stage in the game, nobody's looking at the Golden State Warriors like they're incapable of winning this series. So Denver is waiting on them too, and we need to take that personally. So that's really what it is, man. You can blow a 3-1 lead if you want to. It's just going to be a bunch of fire this person, fire that person, trade that person conversation around here. I don't want to think like that because we've had a very successful season, but I'm here for championships. We have a chance to win a championship. If this team falls short of a championship, then it fell short of what it's supposed to. And we're going to come back with a different roster next year because we're going to have to pay some of these dudes. And I mean, some of that depth is disappearing as to which you're not going to be as good next year, and you need to be as good next year. So this is why I'm like, yo, I ain't got time for this. None of us do. We better get this right. No small ball, 3-guard lineup, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, please rebound for me nonsense tonight. They ain't going to rebound. They ain't blocking shots. Kavon's going to rebound. Dre's going to score. And that's how that's going to play out if we do that. So this coach better fall in love with playing Wenyen Gabriel again. That's what I'm here to tell you. I've been asking this man to play Wenyen Gabriel and Vanderbilt together. When he does it, good things happen. Does he do it much? No. Maybe it's because they all can't dribble or some stupid crap. So that's my thing, man. 3-guard lineups is why the Lakers lose 9 out of 10 times. Anything involving small ball is a deficit for this team. It's a net negative for this team. It was like that in Game 5. It was like that in Game 2. It was like that in Game 5. It was like that in Game 2. See how correlation goes with these series? They're both the same way. And the one constant that you're going to see is when the Lakers lost, they strategized the same way. So we'll know if we want to win tonight or if we want to extend this thing to Game 7. I don't know why Genie would want to extend it to Game 7. That game ain't going to be in your building. You need this thing to end here tonight. You ain't doing no favors for Myers and them. For what? They got all the rings in the world. Why the hell do they need another Game 7 in their house? Least of all with LeBron James on the floor. No, we need to end this series. Don't do them no favors. So that's what I got to say, man. I'm irritated with the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green has made me look effectively stupid, calling him out and him proceeding to just play better and better and better every time I do. But at the end of the day, I'm valid in calling him out because he's trying to hurt our players. Okay? Let's just be honest. He was trying to hurt our player. I took exception to what he did to Anthony Davis in, Game 2 or whatever game that was. And I ain't felt good about that. I don't like it, man. I don't like when guys purposely try to hurt our players. I don't. I think we need to do a much better job of protecting our players. I understand we got friends on the other side, got a lot of respect for them dudes. We don't want to fight them dudes. You know, I get it. I support that. But at the end of the day, you can't be hitting my guy in the head, kicking this guy over here, pushing this guy over here, all this different stuff that the Golden State Warriors getting away with. The referees letting them clobber us. We need to be physical with this team tonight. And I understand they're more physical than us. Anthony Davis does not want to be physical with Draymond. I'm not asking him to do that. But other people need to be. We need to be physical tonight. We need to be physical over the next 2 games. Why? Because they've been trying to wear us down physically so that we would be as tired as them. That's why. That's why I needed us to put Wenyen on the floor more. That's why I needed us to throw more elbows at people. Put double T on the floor sometimes in this series. Because he was going to do those things. He was going to do those things. And we needed somebody out there doing those things to offset the Draymond Green factor. And the sheepishly Kevon Looney, the nicest guy in the world who happens to just accidentally just hurt people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool, bro. I'm not fooled by that. I'm nice too. That's what it really comes down to. And so what it really comes down to for me is just the Lakers taking exception to the Golden State Warriors just like they took exception to the Grizzlies. And they ain't getting mad at this team, and that's a problem because if we ain't feeling anger, we're feeling fear, it seems, as a team, and I'm not with it. Too damn good of a team to be losing to teams that we can beat. Just because we respect that they got this player or because we respect that this could be a whole lot of money made from having a game in our building. Like, that's stupid crap. We shouldn't be losing for that. We need to be winning these games because our legacy's on the line as a franchise. 17 NBA championships is not enough. The Sixers were, doing us a favor yesterday, beat the Boston Celtics. Their series is up 3-2. Hopefully they finish the Celtics off. But there's still a chance the Celtics win 2 games and get to the Eastern Conference Finals and have a one-step chance closer to get to Larry O'Brien before us. That's 18 for them, 17 for us. Is that the reality y'all want while y'all playing around with these games? Because that's exactly what you're ushering your fan base into. And believe you me, that's going to be a very unhappy fan base if Green is hoisting the trophy in a year where we're supposed to be getting it. And you know how many times that's happened in the history books. So, toy around with Game 6 Golden State if you want. But if Philly loses the next 2 games, we got real problems. And they ain't got nothing to do with what we got going on. It has to do with what the other side is doing. And that's the fight we're really in for all time. So I ain't losing sight of that. Nobody in purple gold should be losing sight of that. We are not only playing against the Golden State Warriors, we're actually fighting against the Boston Celtics. So I want Bron thinking about that. I want AD thinking about that. I want everybody who gives a damn about this Laker organization to think about the Celtics tonight, not just the Warriors. The Warriors are in the way. The Celtics are the real fight. That's 17 versus 17, and we're going for it. We're going for it. So get the Splash Brothers and the New School Dynasty out of the way. All due respect. This is your time now, but that time is just now. We're all time. Okay? The Lakers are all time. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Mike had the 90s. 2000, 2010s, 2002. We have them all. Golden State got 2010. Dominated. Just like the Bulls had the 90s. Dominated. This is us. The whole league is us. The whole league is us, baby. And that's what I'm here to tell y'all. So that's really what it's about. It's about the purple and gold Los Angeles Lakers at all times. And everybody else, with respect to y'all, if you ain't the Celtics, you're not a main character here. It just is what it is, baby. So we got to knock off all these other guys, the Golden State Warriors included. They need to go home tonight. I expect them to go home tonight. And I really won't have a whole lot of nice things to say if we don't win this basketball game. So that's pretty much where my head is, man. Hopefully Andrew Wiggins will be healthy. Hopefully Anthony Davis will be healthy. We want our guys healthy. That's deeper than basketball. LeBron James, same thing with the foot. Obviously, everything needs to be on the up and up going forward. Pay attention to Game 6 Clay, but do not expect him to go for 60 points in 3 quarters just because it's Game 6. Play him by ear. He's been struggling. Jordan Poole, if you continue to leave him open, he's found his rhythm in Game 5. Expect him to have even more rhythm in Game 6. I don't care that it's our building. I expect him to play better. You know what I'm saying? These are things that are important. Kevon Looney, pay attention. They're better with him on the floor. They didn't have him in the first half of the series because of the sickness or whatever it was. He's back. Ain't gonna be no Jermichael Green for 30 minutes. None of that. He's back. So we gotta be ready for physicality and rebounding. And physicality, you know, if we play soft and we don't play physical tonight, if we're shying away from contact, we're going to lose the game. And if we overshoot because they don't call the whistle and we find ourselves launching 43s tonight, we're going to lose the game. And if we don't get in transition and we only block like 1 or 2 shots tonight, chances are you're going to lose the game. We need to steal the ball. We need to block the ball. We need to take care of the ball. We need to take advantage of turnovers they give us because they're coming. We need to not overreact to any shots that they make or any leads that they get because we can erase them. The series has proven that. We need to not overuse certain players, especially if they can't defend. Defense to offense is the best offense for us. It's in the numbers. Every time we have a fantastic transition block steals game, it turns into 120-something points, as I've already stated. Do understand that when the Lakers go to look for offense, we score about 100 points. So that's something that is really, really consistent. And that's where my head is, man. The Golden State Warriors are a worthy opponent, but at the end of the day, they don't have Rui. They don't have Winyan. They don't have, Vando. They don't have those type of pieces. They don't have those guys. So what they have to continue to do is run little funny screens and have Draymond Green sprinting to the high speeds all the way down the floor. They got to run dribble handoffs and pray to God nobody calls a moving screen and various stuff that they do. Has to be done the same way because there ain't too many options that they have to throw at us. We have many options to throw at them. I don't know that we're using all of them, but we have many options. Removing the jogger Troy Brown from the series is interesting to me, but I don't think it actually has the same effect as we think. Sometimes him down there is good because he's not taking shots away from anybody because he ain't looking to shoot. And he's using his length to rebound and defend, even though he'll get 1 or 2 rebounds. Those are key rebounds, and he's only down there for like 7 or 8 possessions, right? So if he's getting 3 boards, all I'm saying is you're probably more likely to be pleased with your result having him down there with his length, jogging and scoring only like 1 point, than putting Lonnie on the floor, being undersized, and then having nobody there to block a shot or rebound the ball. He's like club soda. When you're trying to drink actual soda and all you got is the syrup, like if anybody's ever dealt with restaurant stuff like that, you ever see the syrup, how heavy it is to carry the syrup packages when you have to connect them to the thing that actually puts the 2 chemicals together. We just got a syrup team without guys like Troy Brown, because Troy Brown, even though he don't have no sweetness to his game, there's no flavor to his game, he brings you the club soda energy to where you put them little small ball lineups on the floor and he's down there, he's going to get the weak side block. He's going to get the rebound. You put him in a situation where you need a corner 3, he probably going to be able to hit that particular 3. Maybe not no other 3s, but he's going to hit that one y'all work around. The same 3 we're trying to work around to get Vando the ball, boom, hit the 3. That's the shot he's going to take. Now, they're not going to leave him open as much, so it's not going to have the same dynamic, but the point is he's probably going to make that shot. You know, these type of things is like, I don't like leaving Troy out there for 30 minutes because I'm not going to give it like 5 points. But if you put him in rotations where you need to, he really can be a Band-Aid for some of these bad lineups, which is what I was calling him halfway through the season anyway, a Band-Aid for Darvin's bad lineups. But if you remove him from the series entirely, you don't have that Band-Aid. And you got a bunch of people in those lineups searching for their shot, taking away shots from others. He's a guy you can put down there, the club soda, that ain't taking away no shots, but he is providing that Band-Aid for your weak side, your rebounding, a little more defense, a little more swing stuff. My thing is, I just want Troy driving at the basket. If you have trouble scoring the ball, then you need to be dunking the ball. That's it. Guy like Troy Brown with all the length that he has, if I were his coach, I would demand he give me a dunk every game. Any game he doesn't give me a dunk, he's running laps after the game. Because you have trouble scoring. And because you have trouble scoring, I have problems putting you on the floor. But I can't run every lineup I want without you being on the floor. So guess what? You're going to learn to be more aggressive, Troy. If I'm coaching you, you're going to learn to be more aggressive. You're going to drive once a game. You're going to dunk the ball once a game. Even if I give you 5 minutes, you better be out there searching for that dunk. So that's what I'm here to say. Lonnie Walker needs to be more aggressive, and it's going to be on the coaching staff to make him more aggressive. Maybe not in the playoffs because we're here, but next season when he's on our squad trying to get better, you make sure he gets us a damn dunk a night. No more of this jogging around crap. Players like him, Tony Snell, you're going to give me a dunk a night. That's what I'm demanding out of those guys who like to jog all damn night. Give me a dunk. That's it. So that's really where I'm at with that, man. I don't want us to remove Troy Brown from the lineup entirely. Give him about 11 minutes a night. Put him in those Band-Aid lineups that we love to use that are so damn small we can't even get a freaking board. So that's what I got to say about that. But I would feel a lot better if we just play Winion in those lineups just to give ourselves the rebounding necessary. So if we utilize Rui at the 3 spot, I promise you he'll take advantage of every small person in front of him. And he gets stops against players that you wouldn't think he gets stops against. He got a stop against Steph Curry last game, if I'm not mistaken. We got to use Rui's defense to our best interest, because what I'm finding is that head up, he's very difficult to score on. Very difficult for big people, small people. Very difficult. You know what I mean? They're not breaking him down. They're not getting the shot up over him. For whatever reason, the shot doesn't fall when he's guarding them. So we need to take advantage of that and try to put him in positions to be not so responsible for rebounding, not so responsible for blocking shots. Protect him from having to do that. Because when we leave him to do those things, sometimes he comes to the table, but other times he's just not going to. Just like Bron, which is why I never want Bron playing in a lineup where he's asked to be a weak side defender or a rebounder, because sometimes it just ain't gonna happen. You don't think like that. He's a forward. He's a guard. So they're not gonna be thinking, let me be a big man every single play. You know what I mean? And we force these guys to do that, and they fail a lot of times. So that's what I want to see stop, man. I don't want to match up with Golden State Warriors 5 ball handlers. They got better ball handlers. Overpower them with taller humans. So that's really where I'm at, man. Game 6 is a very tense game. You can clearly see I'm on the wrong side of the bed. I'm frustrated about the last game, but I'm more so frustrated about how we lost, not that we lost. You know what I mean? And so knowing that we can choose to win, I guess turn the switch on against most opponents, I just think going up against the Golden State Warriors, that will betray you a lot of the times, thinking you could turn that switch on. You could play your best ball, and they may still go for 60, 3/4, a guy like Clay. So it's like, pay attention to him. Steph Curry's going to probably play hard, but they're tired, man. They played a lot of games together in a real condensed amount of time, a 7-game series against a high-paced, speed-running team, and we've allowed them to wear us down through 5 games. We've allowed them to bring the physicality to us through 5 games. Opposite. We should have been pushing them around. We should have been putting elbows in their chests. We should have been kicking them and they're growing. These are the type of things that we should have been doing to them, knowing that they played 7-game series, knowing that they got a 35-year-old running around screens all damn night. At this point, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I am bulldozing them dudes. I'm sending people at them to send them punishment. I'm putting punishment on the Golden State Warriors. If they're going to play for 48 minutes tonight, they're going to have all of the pain in the world messing with my team on a night like this. Because I know that in this game, if they win it, they got to play Game 7 in their house a day from now. You know what that means? Whatever damage I'm doing to them tonight, they're going to feel a day from now. And that's exactly when I need them to feel it. When they are 14 games into these playoffs, exhausted as hell, and have to play for their playoff lives for a 3rd game in a row. I'm telling you, Wearing them down in Game 6 will go a long way either way. Make them feel you tonight. And if we're not looking to be physical, then we might as well just give them the win. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching.